everyone. Welcome back to masonjargarage. This is going to be a real short video today. I have been working on the brakes on the C10, and both of the front hard lines would not come loose from the rubber lines, and the rubber lines are completely collapsed. There's no fluid getting through at all. So I already took care of the passenger side. It was certainly more complex, but here I've got the driver's side. This is where the fitting that screws into the rubber line inside the frame rail is supposed to be, and I just cut it off there with a pipe cutter. But I'm going to make a replacement line real quick. I've just got a roll of bulk line that I got off of Amazon, and it came with a little bag of fittings. This is 3/16 line, which is what's on the truck from the factory for the front brakes. I think it's a 1/4 inch line that runs from the front to the back, and then it breaks out into 2 more 3/16 lines back there. But we're just going to go over real quick, if you've never done brake lines, and show you how I'm doing it. I'm absolutely certain there are better ways to do so. But I want a piece of line that's going to be longer than what I actually need for the job. And that can be kind of difficult when you're dealing with a line that's already got bends in it to tell. An easy way to take care of that is just to get a piece of string and follow the existing line that has the bends, and then that'll tell you how long it is. But it's also good to have a little extra just for whoopsies. So I'm going to cut it down here. It's definitely going to be more than I need, but this stuff is super cheap anyway. Now I've got a Vevor Hydraulic Flare Tool that I'm going to be using. I think they run about 140 bucks normally. I got this one for like 100 bucks, I think, on Temu. Tons of Vevor stuff on Temu. They've got an actual store on there. No sponsorships there, just I like Vevor stuff. To me it's kind of like the new Harbor Freight, because Harbor Freight's prices have gone up so much. Vevor's cheap, and so far most of the stuff I've gotten is in pretty good quality. So I've got a little line cutter here that comes with the hydraulic tool. It's one of these that you just screw down and spin it around, and then you tighten it. It's got a blade and a couple of rollers. So I'm just going to cut off a piece of the new line here. And you just tighten this after you make a couple of revolutions, and you just end up with a nice clean cut. They do include a deburring tool with this, but this line is so small that we are not going to be able to use it on here. This is very, very easy to bend and flex. It's also very easy to kink, so just be careful. And this one's a very easy shape to copy. So the very first thing we're going to do is put a flare on this, and then we'll start shaping after that. So when you go to make your first flare, you don't have to pay attention so much to the fact that your fittings aren't on there yet. But when you go to make that second flare, you better make sure your fittings are on there. Otherwise you're going to be cutting the end off of it. Ask me how I know. So the instructions that come with this aren't fantastic, but I mean, it's also not rocket science. I think they call these the dies, and then the piece that goes in is the adapter. Let's see. And everything is marked. Let's see if I can get it to focus on this. Yeah, maybe you can read that. So it's a 45-degree inverted, and it's 3/16 which is the size we're working with. So your line is going to go in from the flat side, not the cupped side. And you can see there's that cup I was talking about. So you want the line flush with the top of it. And you don't have to be super precise, but you know, get it close. And then the way it's going to go into the tool is just like this. These are offset. There's a long side and a short side. Long side goes in, and then you just tighten this down snug. You don't have to like get ridiculous with it. And then in the case that this comes with, you've got a whole bunch of adapters. Let's see, this one's marked inverted 45 3/16. So that goes in right here. There's a little cutout for this machined portion to fit safely in there. And there's nothing really that retains it. It just goes in. Then you tighten the two together. Make sure that you line up properly with the actual opening on the tube. And then you just screw this down until it's flush. Then you're going to close the valve and you start pumping the handle. And eventually you're going to get to the point where you can't squeeze it anymore. And that's good. Don't go any further. Open the valve, unscrew this. And you don't have to take this back out of here. I'm just taking it out to show you what it's going to look like after the first portion, because it's not done yet. And there's what you end up with, just a little bubble flare. So we'll put this back in. And as you can see there, that's what I'm talking about this being offset. Here's the long side, here's the short side. Long side goes in. And we'll tighten this back up. Now the second tool that you're going to be using is this cone. And there are no markings on it. It's just a cone. So we'll slide that in the tool. And we're going to tighten this up until the cone meets the flare that we've already got in there. And actually, I need to adjust this a little. I didn't pull the line in far enough. There we go. Because at this point it should be flush in there. And it would have been if I'd left it alone instead of taking it out. You want to verify right up here that your cone is in fact centered on the flare that you've already got, and tighten this down. And we'll tighten the valve and we'll squeeze this again. A few pumps. Okay. Loosen the valve, unscrew it, and then loosen the clamp. Everyone say hello to Kelly.
Dinner's done.
Thank you.
Let me wait till you come in
For what?
to get your plate.
Yeah, give me just a minute. Thank you. And then that's what you end up with when it's all done. Very, very nice little flare. So then I'm going to take our fitting, which we have verified is the proper one, by screwing it in to our new hose. because there are different size fittings that come with this line. And how awesome would it be to get all of this done and find out that you've used the wrong fitting. So then put that one on there, and that's what you're looking for. So now, before I go any further, I'm putting the other fitting on, because if I don't, I will 100% forget it. So what we want to do here is try to mimic the bends on this as best as we can. Now I do have, hang on, the step stool I'm using as a workbench is too cool. I do have one of these little pipe benders. This thing works alright. Might actually work better for bigger ones because I don't think it's made to go as small as 3/16. But for as simple as the bends are on these brake lines, at least on the C10, I just do it by hand. Well, by hand, what I mean is literally by hand, and then a pair of pliers. On the more complicated one, I actually took some tape and taped the two lines together. I've already put the one I made in the truck, but this is what the old one looks like. There's lots of bends and small angles and stuff to it. So I actually taped, as I would make a bend and move forward, I would tape the new line to the old one, so I could keep them lined up and keep everything matching up all right. This one is very, very simple though, so what you're really looking for is just where the bend starts. Okay, I may end up regretting this. I'm taking both of the fittings off, because it definitely is easier without them on. And I'm just going to start putting a little bend to this. And you want to move forward with it, if you're doing it this way anyway. You want to move forward with it as you do it, so you keep from crimping the tube. And you don't want to squeeze very hard. Just basically, you don't need the pressure like between the jaws other than to just hold it. What you're doing when you're bending is you're putting the pressure on the edge of the jaws to bend it. So yeah, that one's pretty close. So then you just keep following the curve of the original line. Now I am lucky in this instance that I have the original lines to work with. If you don't, you basically just eyeball it and do your best. I mean, this stuff's flexible enough that you can certainly change it, you know, on the fly while you're doing the install. Looks like I need to go a little further with the end there. And then that section's fairly straight. It kicks up a little right here. And then we start bending over that way. And we've got another 90 right here. So obviously I've cut this off. There is a bit of this still in the truck, so I'm going to need to go longer. And where this sits at, that's not really an issue if I end up making it a little too long. So we'll get our cutter back out, and I'm going to cut it. You also need just a little bit extra for the flare anytime you're making these. Don't forget the flare, because that does take up a tiny bit of material. Alright, we've got our line cut. Now, if you've never done these before at all, hang on to your scrap, and you can use it to practice, because if you make one that's just a practice line, you can always cut it and pull the flare or the fittings back off of it. So don't trash the stuff, and you never know when you're going to need a tiny piece for something. Now, typically, what I do is, even though I've already got that 90 in it, I put that there so I could see just where I was going to end up to be able to cut it. I'm going to mostly straighten that back out. So that I can remember to put the fittings on and make sure they're going in the right direction. Put that one on. Alright, then we're going to flare this end, then we'll reshape what we need to, and we'll be done. So again, always make sure you're lining this up properly with the tube. Alright, so we got our second flare done. It fits nice with the threaded piece. So now we just need to correct our bends. That one's got just a tiny little kink in it. It's not going to be enough to actually restrict flow. And a lot of times you can kind of bend that back a little to work it out too, if need be. Got that one way off as far as direction goes. But you just keep working it back and forth until you get something that's going to work for you. Now my angle's off on this one, but I'll be able to straighten that pretty easily once I put it on the truck. So it's not perfect by any means. It's not exact, but it should be plenty close enough to do the job. I do have, see, I'm showing you the mistakes because I am no pro at this by any means. I do have a little kink in it right there, so I may end up remaking this one, but this should at least give you an idea, if you've never done this before, just what to expect. Now, there are very cheap tools out there available to do the flaring. Like, you can get a kit for 20 bucks on Amazon. That's a little hand tool. That's absolutely fine if you want to go that route. I have had zero luck using those effectively, so I spent the money on the Vevor Hydraulic Tool, because I'm going to be using this quite a bit with all the projects I've got. I've got my son's Chevy Avalanche out there that has blown a hard line, I think. And I believe it's the one that runs to the rear of the truck, so I've got a big one I'm going to be putting in there. I've got the Le Mans sitting out here that's going to need all new brake lines. I've got the truck that has needed the front ones, and very likely will need the other ones once these get some use on them. I wouldn't be surprised at all to have more of these blow out. The Le Mans, or the Bonneville, again, they may be okay right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if I don't end up having to do those. Then the Catalina and, you know, any other vehicles I pick up that are old, there's a high likelihood they're going to need some lines, whether it's because they blow out or because I snap them in half like I did on the C10 trying to get them loose. So anyway, there's our brake line completed. I hope this helps someone. If you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe to the channel. Like, share, all that stuff helps. I am over on TikTok as well. You can just search for Mason Jar Garage. Soon I'll have my masonjargarage.com updated, where you can choose YouTube or TikTok, Instagram, socials, that kind of stuff. I'm not on the social platforms nearly as much as the video platforms, but anyway, I appreciate you all watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Mason jars on dusty shelves meant to save us now. Neon lights flicker hard, shadows dance aloud. Rusty tools on memories, we share the scars. In this garage we raise hell, fixing cars.